Good evening, good evening, good evening. I hope everyone out there had a wonderful week. I know I did. What about you?
I think my week was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Tired is over. I'm gonna sleep like a baby.
I hear you on that one. I've been getting some real good sleep. So we are back again for another episode of Our Truth because I am his mom.
And I am her son.
So, what would you think is the number one issue in families, people? What comes to mind? Throw some answers in the chat. Let's see what you think. But what we're talking about today is boundaries. Boundaries with family. Now,
AKA minding your own business.
and other things. Because
Yeah, yeah, and other things.
when it comes to families, um, the word boundaries is broad. It's not just in
hmm
a small box. It's several situations and things that could make a boundary stronger or break the mold, depending on the family you're in,
Uh,
the family member, the relationship, um, the situation. Because even if you're close to someone, if they cross a certain boundary, then that could destroy that altogether. So,
mm,
what is the best way to maintain that l- boundary level where you're not going too far, but you also not making them feel as if you're standoffish? Now, for me, I'm gonna let you go first.
okay, yeah, I'll go first. Um, Sorry, everybody. I'm drinking some water. Had to clear my throat, make sure that I'm very, very clear when I speak. But I think it starts off with being transparent, making sure that you are 100 with the people around you. Let them know like what you're willing to share, what you're willing to accept from them. For an example, if I'm hanging out with like a cousin, no, I'm gonna use somebody higher up because I really feel like when it comes to family and boundaries, it's more so about the hierarchy of things. That's why I'm not gonna use a cousin. I'm gonna use like a grandmother or aunt because it's always the older people who the younger people you have to set boundaries with. Even me, now that I'm a father and an uncle, I may have to set boundaries for my children for myself with them. But I'm going to speak on the other way. So, as far as like an aunt or uncle or grandmother, a boundary I will have on myself is like, matter of fact, I'm going to use this one how I treat them, like how I, like, as far as respect and speak level. There's certain boundaries I won't cross with an aunt that I will cross with my uncle. Uh, as far as language, the language barrier is different. My vernacular is a little bit different. Um, it's just I uh, I don't know how to say it. I am myself in both ways, but in one way I am more professional, and the other one I am more relaxed. I would say that. So with my aunt, the boundary is don't use this type of language. I still joke, but I don't use a certain language that I would with my uncle. With my uncle, the boundary of that with that language is I would never disrespect him while using that language, like when being myself, whatever or not. So I know, like, even though he's giving me the freedom to be this, there's certain boundaries where in that freedom I shall not cross.
Okay.
And I feel like when some boundaries aren't set in stone where it's out loud spoken, but it's like something that grows into happen, like something that grows into existence. That's a better word because it's the precedence of it happening is like the moment it happened, we knew, all right, that crossed the line. Don't do that again, you know? like whether it's a look or there was no response after the person said it, but there's always a moment between two people or a group of people where they know, like, all right, a boundary, that line was crossed. That's boundaries right there. The moment you cross the line, you are going outside your boundaries. And I feel like you have to be transparent about that. You can't be afraid to say, hey, mom, when it comes to my drugs, mind your business. I'm not promoting drugs, everybody. I'm just saying, like, you can't be afraid to set boundaries. Like, even though people care about you, you don't like when there's people out there like you don't care about their opinion or you don't um value what they say, you have to tell them, listen, this is my life. I'm gonna make these decisions. And I feel like you speaking on my life is crossing the line. You, like whoever you're talking to, I don't feel like you are fit to speak on my life. And therefore, when you do so, you're crossing the line. And it's easy to say that to anybody. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to feel like that you're pushing someone away. No, because you can still be in people's lives. You just have certain ways that y'all deal with each other. Like there were people who would joke with me and we would play the dozens and we would have fun. And then those are people out there who would never cross that line. Who like I wouldn't even allow it. Like there is no joking with me. There is no doing the dozens. So sometimes you have to have that boundary. It makes everything so much simpler in life.
Okay. And I think it's the aspect, cause like you were saying with your uncle, um, pretty much y'all 10 years apart. So y'all kinda grew up together. Cause when you were born, he was 10 and you was always at your grandmama house with so
Right. That's kind of like my daughter and his little brother. Exactly.
right, so it's basically, y'all have a different dynamics
Uh,
as with your auntie. Um, I'm 10 years older than my brother, and she's 11 years older than him. So when you know, when you were born, she was
right.
older. And so, you know, and she practically always came and stole
Exactly.
you, and she pretty much so y'all dynamics was more of a you're my nephew, I'm your auntie, and that's pure point blank. And so it's completely different um atmosphere, situation, relationship, dynamics. Now, for me, um, I would have to say how I grew up, because I grew up in the 70s. I raised y'all completely different because how you say you would pretty much be like, oh, I need I need this to be this, period, point blank, period. Um, I grew up in the 70s. In the 70s, in my family, the dynamics was um pretty much the do as I say, not as I do generation. And you get slapped in your mouth for pushback. Even if you was trying to speak your piece, they call it talking back. And the punishment was not at all friendly. So I think that's why I raised y'all differently because I was like, you know what? No, we're not doing this. You know, with
Right.
with my kids, this is not gonna happen. This is not gonna go on. So I never learned how to establish boundaries um in my life until now. Sometimes I still don't, you know, do good with setting
What?
boundaries. I'm still somehow a pushover.
Huh.
Um, or should I say,
You
get
like for other people or setting boundaries for yourself?
for other people and for other people.
Huh?
Like I don't know. I'm
Oh, so
not
for both.
right. So like basically, if someone was to say, I'm learning slowly, but it's not comfortable because of the fact of the way I was raised. But cause like if someone was to say something, and even though I don't agree with them, I would still be like, "Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah," making them think that I agree with what they're saying, but in my mind, I'm like, "That's dumb." Or I be thinking like, "I'm not doing that." But I was never raised to I was raised to stay in my place, so, I have I will cut you off. I pretty
Mhm.
much cut you off. That's my boundary. Okay, I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm tired of this. I'm just gonna stop being around them because um yeah, I don't like that. Instead of just coming out saying, look, would you stop doing so and so because it's getting on my nerves or it's hurting my feelings or especially and then I'm not argumentative. I don't want to be argumentative. So and I have severe anxiety. And so if I come to you with my feelings, which is my feelings, and I get severe pushback, I'm going to shut down internally. And so the
Mhm.
first time I come to you and I get that pushback, I'm never going to come to you again. I'm just going to shut down. And then if you continue to cross those boundaries, then I'm going to get to the point where I don't even want to deal with you anymore. I just don't want to deal with you because I can't come to you because
Okay,
you.
I gotta pause.
Huh?
I'm gonna pause this and ask a quick question with that.
Okay.
Do like when you said what you're saying right now,
Hmm.
does that do your boundaries change within settings? Like versus when you're at work, at home, at school, at church, at the movies, having fun, like do those
No,
boundaries shift?
no, because I'm an introvert. And I'm a I'm an introvert. So the boundaries don't shift. And when people try to bring me when people okay, when people say certain things like, "Oh,
Oops,
um,
sorry.
being an introvert is not a real thing. You just need to come up out your shell and talk to more people." No, I don't. Like, seriously, leave me alone. Like, but I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, you maybe you're right." Instead of saying, "Look," because I don't want to argue and I don't want the pushback. Because I might say, "Well, I don't feel comfortable." Oh, after a while, you'll get comfortable. But I don't think so because I'm at this age and I just that's an excuse. It's just the constant pushback. The con it's like I'll be wanting to scream, like you're not listening to me. And so when it comes to boundaries with family, I have just honestly learned to distance myself from family members that don't get it, that just don't get it. So,
Mm.
yeah, I just, now some people I would tell them, don't do that. I don't like that. But, but I've never really had a situation. I would say the most I've had situations with the constant of my boundaries being pushed. I'm not going to say to the limit, just pushed is with my big sister. But of course, it's a different dynamic because she is my big sister. So I take that into consideration also that she's older. Even though it's just a year, she feels like she's more wiser. And she has lived more than I have. And I'm gonna explain that. Um, so I kind of listen to her, but at the
Yeah.
same time, some things that she tried to cross a boundary on is quite nerve wracking. I get quiet because I don't want to alien alienate her or have her shut down where she like, oh, she ain't gonna listen. I'm just not gonna ever, discuss with her because the different dynamics, and then boundaries. Some boundaries where I have been pushed up against a wall, like severely pushed up against a wall, has came from my mother, and with those, I've had to like you repeat in your head. Don't dishonor your mom, don't dishonor your parent, don't dishonor your parent. And it pretty much be like, I really wish you would just shut up talking to me. So, well, so it's so with those two dynamics, I would constantly deal with the crossing of the boundary. And I just deal with it because of who they are. But
Yeah.
even with y'all, my sons, y'all cross my boundaries a lot. And I just, to be honest, because this is my truth, I would I would say I don't I'm gonna say I take it on the chin, but I don't take it on the chin because I would actually go in my room and cry. And um and then I would silently snap, like I'd be in my room saying da, 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 I talk it out. I get cause and then I would stay to myself for a while, and then I would just be like, okay, so from now on, this is just how I'm gonna do it. I ain't gonna say this, I ain't gonna do this, I ain't gonna say that. And then I move on. With cousins, I've never had this issue with my cousins or my aunties on my daddy's side. Now my mama's side, yeah, because they're all opinionated. And I've had to
Yeah,
tell
that
them,
makes sense.
you need to mind your business. Or that ain't got nothing to do with you. Or who you talking to? Because it was just the dynamics of how I grew up. Like, I moved out of my mama's house when I was 16. So I wasn't around them, but, even though I moved out of my mom's house when I was 16, I spent more time with my dad's family, so our dynamic was completely different. So, them aunties and uncles, I was always pretty much in my life. As far as my mom's, brothers, I saw them during the holidays, um, in that type of situation. Or like I would go visit my one uncle because he was my favorite uncle in Detroit. Not was, is because he's still above ground. But I would go visit him all the time in Detroit. But he was more of a funkle than an uncle. Like he was fun and carefree, and he wasn't like, "Oh, I'm your uncle and you're gonna do." Yeah, I learned not to work for him. Now, in that aspect, I did have to quit the job because he crossed the boundary when he hollered at me and cursed at me, and I went home, and he called me the next day and asked me was I coming to work, and I told him, "If we want to keep the relationship we have, it's best if I don't work for you." I said, "Because the next time you holler at me and cuss at me, I'm gonna F you up, here point blank." I said, "I ain't that girl." I said, "I didn't grow up around you, so you don't know my mannerisms, so I'm letting you know now, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that." I said, "And I don't want to disrespect you as my uncle, so it's best if I stay in my lane, because I will seriously be effing you up." He promised not to do it again, but I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to take the chance." I said, "Because I'm serious." I said, this is not a joke. I'm serious. So I think it's best if you know, stay where I need to stay in my lane." So yeah. And I know with me, I have crossed some of your boundaries, especially since you done had kids.
I
Hello.
mean,
Uh,
um, that's why I said I agree. I understood where you came from because when your kids are no longer kids, they become adults. You have to learn. And it's crazy how it's unfortunate, but a parent has to learn how to speak to their children now that they're adults. You can't talk to your child the same way they were when you did when they were 6. Same way you couldn't when they were 13. Same way you couldn't at 18, 20s, 30s. It's a whole different dynamic. And it's like at some point you have to relearn how to mm, uh not to cross certain boundaries with certain children. Like for now, right, like because man, it's gonna come. No, it's gonna come. I'm expecting it with my kids. I know at some point it's gonna be all right, Dad. Look, that's too much. You don't have to do that anymore. And then I'm all right, writing my little notebook. Outgrown that. You know what I'm saying? Ain't gonna hurt my heart. You know what I'm saying? Because my little baby. But in the end, I'm gonna not care because who I am, and I'm gonna be like, all right, well, yeah, bet I know how to deal with you. For women, that's why when you say you go in your room and for you have to cry it out. I understand. That's women are way more emotional than us men. We don't have to go cry it out. We just take it on the chin and be like, all right, well, that's new.
you don't
They
take
don't
it
want
on
to
the
give
chin.
they nah, I have to.
After
I have
you
to.
scream and
I'm
holler
starting.
and voice your opinion and
I'm not talking about the old me. I'm talking about the new me. Well, the
oh,
old me
I
don't
haven't been
matter.
well,
This
I've
is
been
my truth.
gone, so I haven't been
So
around
my
his
truth
age
is
yet.
so my truth is because the way I've been acting in 2026, my truth is I've just been chill. Like I said, I had a moment yesterday with God, and it has been lovely because
Right,
of the
but do
journey.
you
That's why I'm
realize
speaking
I
my
haven't
truth.
been there in
So
2026?
yeah, that's what's up. That's why I'm telling you. That's why we're having this.
Right.
That's why we're here having
Yeah.
this conversation. Like I was telling you my truth, and you tried to, but I get it. So, yeah, and even with me wanting to get my point across, that was still crossing my boundaries. If see, this is my boundary.
Ouch.
You can't. No one in this world can talk at me anymore. If anybody say anything to me, I'm going to respond. If you do not want me to respond, don't say nothing to me. I don't care who you are. My mother, my grandmother, my uncle, my father. I don't care who you are. If you don't want to respond, don't talk to me. Don't say nothing. You walk away from me after you say something to me, it's not over just because you walking away. I don't care if you're done. I'm not done. You just said what you had to say, and I don't care who that pertains to. I have boundaries that I will cross if mines are crossed. But I promise you, when my boundaries are not crossed, when my lines are not crossed, I don't cross others. I'm not the first to ever cross people's lines because that's not how I come off. That's not how I was raised. I am a silly, goofy kid who loves his inner child, who keeps his inner child there. That's why I'm 36, still alive. Heck, I can go have fun with my kids at any moment, do anything. I'm silly. The taekwondo, I have fun with that, cracking my jokes. Like, that's who I am first. But the moment my line is crossed, then another side of me is unlocked. And
I think
it's not purposely. It's not even me like doing it like, oh, time for me to act like this. No, it's a reaction that happens just like that. And then once it's all over and I'm like back to normal, I guess, I'd be like, dang, he shouldn't even went like that if that didn't happen. Like I didn't had arguments where in the argument I'm like, I don't want this to be an argument. But it's not going because both parties aren't the boundaries are already crossed. So the lines have been crossed already with a statement or body language or a facial expression, something. So it's hard to reel it back into a compromised situation where those lines are backed up on and nobody's crossed them. Because once you cross, you cross. And
and
that's the
and
problem
that's why
with
I
today's
walk
world.
away. That's why I walk away. Because sometimes when I am in a or I just shut down because I I have a certain attitude, and I have to at certain times when it's a heated discussion or whatever, whatnot, I have to walk away because I know the 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 things that cross my mind, if they came out of my mouth, would probably, if not destroy, but damage the relationship. So I
Well, yeah,
I
or it could
have
help it, depending on who it
no,
is.
no, I have to, I have because I would hold things in I that annoy me, and I might mention it, and it might cause an argument, and the things that cross my mind to say, if I say them, I know for a fact it would change the dynamic of the relationship. So I walk away to keep from saying it. And the whole time that I'm being talked at, when I'm not saying anything and I'm quiet, is because I am contemplating in my mind what to say without coming across as a hardcore, harsh bitch. Because I didn't grow up in a family where was taught how to, one, beat around the bush, two, sugarcoat shit, or three, I moved out when I was 16. And so you have to survive when you're out there in those streets that young, and you got to give as good as you get. There's no one to teach you, oh, but not with your kids. No, if I feel attacked, I'm gonna attack back because then no one. I had no parental um guidance to show me, oh, but it's a limitation. To me, this is a person that's attacking me emotionally. I need to strike back. But my thing is, it it be with the truth, but I don't want to cross those boundaries, even though my boundaries are being crossed. Um, so I hold my tongue.
Uh,
And so yeah, and um if I feel my body going through a transition, because I actually literally go through an entire physical transition. Like I could feel my body tightening, and then I would get tense, and I would start rubbing my hands like real tight, trying to release that pressure, and then I might poke my fingernails in the palm of my hands, trying to get um like you still here, just calm, because I have anxiety. And then but my anxiety is like, when my anxiety kicked in, they say, what is it, fight, flight, fit, what is it, um the thing to fight or flight. When my anxiety kick in, it's always fight. So I have learned, when you want to maintain certain relationships, sometimes you have to choose flight. And so when I'm walking away, it's not to be disrespectful or to um say I don't care what you're talking about. It's to, when I say I'm done and I walk away, is to maintain that boundary so that I don't say something that And I ain't gonna say I will regret, because if I said, I'm not gonna regret it. But I would regret if it. I'm not even gonna. Nope, I ain't gonna say. See, that's it, and that's why I want to, because I wouldn't even regret if it hurt your feelings. Not just you, but whoever I'm talking to. I wouldn't regret if it hurt your feelings. I
Right.
wouldn't regret if, because it'd be my truth of how I feel. So I'd be like, you better take it how you take it, and then that might cause more of an argument, and more things will probably be said, and that probably will break the relationship. So I would rather have my boundaries stepped on than tarnish a relationship with my kids or my sister or my mom or my brother. Because it's times where he has said something and I'd be like, don't say it. Just let him say what he gonna say and let's move on to another topic. Don't say it. Because I promise you he finna catch these words. But it what the older I'm getting, um that's why I had told you when I said, oh, I would love to go have a cabin in the woods all by myself and never talk to anyone again. I said, and I'll be just fine, because I am finding that the older I'm getting, the harder it is to do that with anyone. It's like I'm at the point where now when my boundary is being pushed to the limit, I'm now like, F you. Let me tell you what I've been feeling for the past 15 years type of situation. So,
Yeah. I don't I don't have that problem. I think that's what my issue was. It's crazy how you hmm. I that would make sense of why you instill that in your sons so much, because I'm not like that. If I feel something, I let it be known. I speak my piece. I speak my mind. And that's how
yes,
I was raised to speak my mind, and I'm gonna always speak my mind. I don't care who it is. Like that's the worst part, man. Somebody could have a weapon to me and getting ready to unalive me and be like, man, you better lie or I'm gonna lie for what? If I lie to you just so I can live, then I can't live with myself. I can't look my children in the eyes, tell them to be a man, always be honest, stand up for what you believe in, and I didn't do it myself. One thing I don't want to be ever is a hypocrite. So
right.
my boundary is I will my boundaries are a part of me. And to not respect my boundaries is not to respect me. So therefore I must speak. And
And I
depending
raised
on
y'all
how
like that
severe
because
the
I
action
was raised
was,
different.
is what's gonna come out.
Yeah. And I raised y'all like that because I was raised differently and I didn't like that feeling. So I never wanted y'all to feel that emotion of being shut down, silenced, not heard.
Understandable.
So yeah. But I think in all, um, it was in my teen years, I would say that because of the fact that my boundaries growing up was always stepped on in I would say my earlier years, that when I did move out my mom's house and I was in my teen years, you weren't allowed to step on my boundaries. You weren't allowed to cross my boundaries. You weren't allowed to make me feel disrespected or any of that in no shape, form, or fashion. I was not buying it. And I can honestly say I got into many fights because I had certain boundaries and I was a no nonsense type person. It's not it wasn't one, two, three, it was one and then three. We don't know about no
Mm,
two. So I was the type of person where I mean, too many fights. It's ridiculous. I was the type of person
right.
where basically like I put it like this, like my boundaries, I hate it with everything in me to be called a female dog and to be lied on. Oh my goodness, you can do anything. Don't lie on me. And I have gotten into so many fights because people lied on me. I even lost a good, I ain't gonna say friendship, but a real like close um a situation because of that word bitch. And the crazy part about it was um the entire situation was a lie. So pretty much the gist of it is I had someone that I used to talk to. I mean, she was real nice. She didn't have many friends because she was on the heavier side and her family was considered the dirty family in town, if you know what I mean. You know, the lesser. So, they pretty much didn't
Mm-hmm.
have, that many, they were that's what they was thought of. But they was cool. She was cool. Cool as whatever. And but she like I said, she was on the um heavier side. So people, how back then they talked about you was thicker than they thought you was supposed to be. Um, I didn't care about that. Like I said, she was cool peeps. And we hung out every now and then. I would go to her house and they, how you stay in her house? They house stink. It was like, but okay, I said, I don't know what the smell come from, but to be honest, their house is clean. So maybe it's something that they can't get out. I say it doesn't bother me because her mom cool, she cool, her brothers and whatever they cool. But anyway, so I would hang with her every now and again. So she knew how I felt about that female dog word. So long story short, um, we hear a commotion outside the house and we go out and it was a party and afterwards I guess kids and she's chasing this little toothpick girl around the car trying to fight her. When I say toothpick, this girl was so little. It I said, I said, if you don't leave that girl alone, I was like, why is you messing with her? I said, do you see she's scared of you? You see how little she is and how big you is? I was like, girl, leave that girl alone. But I called her name, but I'm not gonna call her name on here. I was like, leave that girl alone. So, and then I turned around and went back in the house. I said my piece. Either you gonna run off, get called, or whatever. So then
Right.
someone, I ain't gonna say his name, ran the house and was like, so and so called you a B. I was like, no, she didn't. Cause she knew how I felt about that word. You know what I'm saying? I was like, no, no, she didn't. And he was like, I swear, so and so called you a B. I was like, huh. So I walked on the porch. I was like, hey, I said her name. Did you call me a B? She was like, yeah, what of it? I was like, I said, call me again. I'm going to run off this porch and whoop yo. I told you, 1 to 3. I ain't had no 2. She was like, B. And I did exactly what I
Right.
told her I was going to do. Afterwards, later on that night, oh, and then her mama and her auntie came to the house and they said that we jumped her because ain't no way someone as little as me whooped her. But anyway, that's another story. But afterwards, He was like, I lied. She ain't call you B. I just wanted to know if you could whoop her. Because couldn't nobody whoop her. Like, she was a fighter. And I was looked at him. I said, "Are you serious?" I said, "You just messed up a good friendship just because you wanted to know who will win between us." Yep. So boundaries, like on the back then, my boundaries could not be crossed. Period. Point blank. Period. I'm coming at you. That's why I stayed because I wanted to have a relationship with my sister. Same difference. She used to cross a lot of boundaries because she thought she didn't like my lifestyle, so she would always say something, and so I would not tell her where to get off at, when, and how. I just stayed my distance because you keep crossing my. Because me and her done got into a few fights, and we also got into a few fights also in the house at my grandma's house because she would cross my boundaries, and it's like you don't know me. And again, I was 1 to 3. I never had to. I went from 1 to 3. So for a long time, we did not associate. We didn't speak. It took us now when we are older and we have a great relationship. But in our later, early adult years, no, we couldn't be in the same house, no same area or room, no more than 5, 10 minutes. Cause I was like, B, shut up talking to me. Mind your business. Because I was 1 to 3. I did not have a middle ground. Either you gonna respect my
Mm,
boundaries or you gonna not respect my boundaries and I'm gonna get in your ass.
understandable. Man, I had a boundary like that. I mean, but I was thinking about it. I'm like, mine was simple. And I think back in my day, it was just everybody's boundary. Don't touch me. Like, once you touch me, it was a whole different thing. I didn't care about people calling me out my name. Man, I didn't care about that. I didn't care people talking about me because I could roast with the best of them. Like, please, I'd make you cry. Like, yo, you want to talk about me? Come on, let's talk about each other then. But then the moment you put your hand on me, then that's different. Like, I did not like that. Do not touch me. Especially don't act like you want to hurt me because now I have to hurt you. And because I don't even care about losing. At this point, it's not even about me winning or losing. It's about the fact that I'm about to hurt you. Regardless if you win, when you see me, you're going to be like, man, I can't believe he did me like that. I don't even know how I won. Like, did I get the last lick? Was it the last? Because back in the day, you can win by getting the last hit. It don't matter who was on the ground the most. It don't matter who was on top of who. Hey, but he got that last hit in, man. So what? I mean, he won. Like, nah,
Yeah, who did
he
ever
ain't
get the
win because
last
he got the
hit?
last punch. It's the one who got the most damage. Like, it ain't about the last hit. Like in the boxing match, they gonna be like, oh, well, he got the last hit in, so he won. No, let's look at the jabs. Who got the most punches in? Who made the most damage? Who made the most impact in the fight? That's who won. It's not about who got the last hit in. But
Right.
I try to make sure that all boundaries are known first. And sometimes I won't even like I don't know, like it's like that situation, like you just said, like they knew what boundary to use to get you to fight. And it's like that's the type of stuff that make me sometimes be a little bit and I know in the beginning of this I did say let's be transparent about it, but that is the reason what she said, y'all, is the reason why sometimes I'm a little hesitant when it comes to telling someone my boundaries unless I know what my intentions with that person is, whether a relationship, family member, friendship. Like, it's certain friends, I ain't gonna tell them certain things because, like, if we might not be friends no more, you might want to use it against me later in the future or something. I don't know. Family members, uh, I really like, well, family members, they can know. I mean, I'm gonna let you know boundaries because you're family, whether or not you buy by that depends on whether or not our relationship's gonna be good or not. And then you have boundaries you set with your mates, like partners, people who have someone that they care for, and your children. So I,
Right.
I feel like it's with what you said, be careful what you tell people. And because they'll use it against you. As what my mom just told y'all. The B word was used against her because they just want to see her fight. See if you can whoop her. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's stuff like that where people be like, hey man, he over there talking about you. And when I be like, so? You're not gonna fight him? Nah, man. I talk about him back. Then I go over there and that's what it be like. Oh, you talking about me? What you gonna do? Nothing. Talk about you back. And then I can make them mad. And if we fought, then we will fight because they put their hands on me. Like I was always the push me, hit me first person. Even if you push me, pushing me is hitting me. So you started the fight, and you pushed me. Now I get to come back with a punch. Cause I'm not gonna. I used to. That was a boundary too. I be the. That was so much of my boundary of not touching that when I seen people doing it, I was the guy in the crowd that would go, hit him already, or hit him, man. Like, man, because it's like, y'all got y'all shoulders on each other and y'all moving around in a circle talking, hit me then, hit me then. And then, and then the third person will push him. And I'm like, oh, the fight can start. But the fight don't start. They get right back to
Or
shoulder to
they
shoulder. Well,
say,
hit me
"Push
then,
me
hit
again,
me then.
push me
And I'm like,
again.
you just
I dare
pushed
you, push
him.
me again." Yeah,
He hit
that
you.
would never been me.
Like, no, they wouldn't even say push me. Like, well, it was one time. You know, it's crazy. It's one incident. One incident. My godmom, we call her R. You know what I'm saying? Her son F. I watched. This was right after baseball practice, man. This dude wasn't even out of the baseball uniform, and he fighting. But it started weird because it started just like that. Because F was talking about some hit me then, you know, shoulder to shoulder, hit me
Mhm.
then, and then the dude pushed him, and then they got back shoulder to shoulder, and he was like, push me again. I'm like, what? Cuz he pushed me again, and then he pushed F, and that's when F started fighting him. I'm like. I don't know if F knew I was there or not, but I guess when he realized I was there, I don't know. Or maybe he was just waiting on him to push him again. But
Which is weird to me.
I'm like, bro, hit
I
him.
never
He
I
pushed
never
you.
liked arguing when that's weird to me.
They get their adrenaline pumping for the fight, man. People who need to be hyped up for the fight, yeah, come on, I'll knock you out. I get madder
Yeah,
and
see,
madder, and I just be ready to
man is if
punch you. Like,
man is yeah, man is touch
angry.
man back then when I was fighting, when
Yeah,
I was like
yeah, touch me.
I would say from 16 to like I'm gonna say like 14 to like 19 literally was you don't even have to touch me. If you swing on me, I'm going in. Like I'm going in.
Oh
Serious.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's
Like
all. Yeah, of
but
course.
and I used to
Even
hang
that,
with
yeah, that's
I
the
used to
fight
hang
starter
with
too. Yeah.
right. I used to hang with some girls, the same girls I hung with from the age of 17 on up, 16 on up. When I moved from the Chi to Michigan, and it's small town, one high school, and I was known as a fighter. And so, but they used to be arguing, and I would stand in the cut and never say a word. Like, why y'all arguing? I thought y'all said we was finna fight. Because I came from a different mentality. In Chicago, we don't do that. We not bumping off with the gums. We either gonna do this or we ain't. All that rah 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 blowing them wolf tickets. What you blowing wolf tickets for? I never
Right.
got that. I remember when I first moved to Michigan and someone was like, I didn't know what it was, blew my mind. They drew a line in the dirt and was like, I dare you to cross that line. I'm like, what the I was I was like maybe 12, 13. I'm like, what do they mean?
People weird.
Right. I'm like, cross the I dare they were like, I dare you to cross this line. I'm like, okay. So I step over the line and I'm like, now what? Like I didn't get it. I didn't get it. I did not get it. Oh, I didn't get it. I was like, what's wrong with these
That's
people?
crazy.
But again, it's like that. Push me, hit me, in the circle. I dare you cross this line. Like that's weird stuff to do. And if
It's
the
crazy because that continued on to my era. Because I remember a dude doing
shut
that,
up.
making a drawing. Just no, I'm dead. I'm dead serious. I
Ah!
don't know if that was his son, if that was her son or what, but that was probably her son. Her son in the future was like, "Hey, anybody cross this line, we fighting." I'm looking like, why?
Right.
What
Like
was the point of that? Are you
it
you
probably
just
was.
want to
I
get
don't
it
know.
out?
It probably
Like
was like she told the story, so he said, "Let me see if I'm gonna use that too."
he's like, I'm gonna do
But
that.
I
I'm gonna do
probably
that at school. I'm gonna cross the line.
right. I dare
Funny
you to come.
enough, if I was who I knew I was gonna be, I would have crossed that line. But I didn't.
I
I ain't
did
gonna lie to
cross
you,
the
I
line.
didn't
Did
because I'm
nothing
like,
happen, so I didn't get it.
oh, I didn't cross the line because I didn't know what was the point. I really was like, why? Like, because he just drew it out of nowhere. It's not like he drew it in front of me. He just drew it. Like he drew the line in the dirt. A bunch of us standing right there. He like, how dare anybody cross this line? All right,
That's too
what?
funny. That's too funny. He said from my generations in the 70s all the way to the 90s. And that was the only time
Is this a game?
right.
That was the only
I didn't
time
know.
ever. It was
Look, I didn't know what
other
it
than that,
was.
I seen it in the movie. But nah,
Oh,
is
we
this a
had just
game?
moved from we had just moved from Chicago down to Michigan, small town, rural town, nothing to do pretty much. So I didn't know what that was. So I'm like, okay, I crossed the line. I'm looking around like, now what? Like, I didn't know what it meant. But I was so glad when we moved back to Chicago. But anyway, yeah, I crossed the line. I didn't know what it meant. We arguing, and then she draw a line and say, I dare you cross this line. Oh, well, she arguing with me. I want arguing back. I just kept saying, swing. I was like, I had my arms crossed. I said, I'm just waiting on you to swing on me. And she just kept talking, kept talking, kept talking. I was just standing there looking at her with my arms crossed. Because I never argue. I don't want to argue with you. If we're going to fight, I need my breath, my air to fight you. I'm not getting winded doing a 30-minute diatribe on what I'm going to do to you. Using up my air and my wind. Nope. That's too much energy. I'm expanding. I'm
That's
gonna
what training's for.
expand all my
Not to say I'm
energy on
training to
these
fight
blows.
people, but that's what training's for.
What do you mean?
Wait, what'd you say?
I said, what do you mean? You said that's what training for. Why am I training to fight at 12 to 13? I'm just on the streets fighting. And I'm not training to fight. And I ain't using up my energy arguing with
I mean,
you.
I'm saying though, at the age 12 and 13, you can be going through training to fight. Like that's a good age
Oh,
to
oh,
be training.
oh yeah, no. I just never like arguing. I just want to fight. We either
And
gonna
it
fight,
sounded like
get it
you
over.
probably were training to fight. I mean, you were fighting people. That was your training.
Oh, too many fights. Oh my goodness, too many fights. Too
Exactly.
many fights. When I look at it now to then, I would say maybe 40% of my fights could have been avoided if I would have just um walked away or not felt as if my boundary was crossed, so I was pushed up against the wall. It wasn't even about me or the city. It was just fact. Oh, so you gonna cross this? Or you gonna do this? Oh, now I gotta show you. We ain't doing this. You would never get away with this again. So it wasn't like at that age I didn't have. It wasn't like I'm like I don't like for people to do that, and then I give you a second chance. It was like, oh, so this what you gonna do? You never do that again. That you'll never do again. You might do something else, but that you'll never do again. You was the same way after
Um,
you started fighting. Before that bus fight, people would cross over, step on, smash down, set your boundaries on fire. My child was so much of a
no,
pacifist.
I
He
had
just
no
did not like
boundaries. I didn't
fighting.
care about.
Right.
I
Well,
didn't have
it
a
was
boundary. There was when
right. He
before
had
that I
more
was
established
just
boundaries.
there was no
Right.
point. There was no point. Like there's and the truth is there's nothing wrong with that.
No, it's
It's
not
not like these kids was putting their hands on me. They were just talking all the time, constantly saying stuff
about
to
what
me
they
all
was
the time.
gonna do to him.
And it was just but they never did. It was like it was always just constant words. Words, words, words.
Bullying my baby.
Like when that's not even bullying. Bullying is people who I've seen bullying. I
To
realize
me, I
I've
would
never
say
been bullied in
I
my
would
life
say it was.
ever.
And
Like
the reason I say it was bullying is the day
bullied
you told me
people.
you no longer
They
want to
put
get on the bus.
no people right. It wasn't bullying. It was verbal. It was people talking. That's it. It was just people talking. It wasn't even bullying. In my opinion, what I've seen what bullying is, I was not bullied. I've never been bullied in my life ever. People talked about me and I ignored it. I did nothing about it. Every time. I was the nerd. I was funny looking, and it
You
was
was
always that every time. And that is what was said. That's like I'm not. This is what
exactly.
was always said to me all the time. Like
So if you didn't think it
it's
was
just at one
bullying, why
point
didn't you
I
not
got
want to ride
over
the
it
bus anymore?
because I didn't want to deal with it no more. I didn't want to hear it no more. I got tired of always being made fun of. And the only thing that stopped that was when people knew that I would punch them in their mouth because my cousin was on the bus with me. And I knew that the two dudes who were bothering me, the other dude wouldn't do nothing if Robert was there. Because I told my mom I didn't want to be on the bus no more, and she made my cousin ride it with me. So
And
if
I
my
told
cousin
Antoine to beat
wasn't
the
there,
brakes off the one
I would have
with the
still
mouth.
ignored it, and it would have been that. So instead, it wasn't. And it had
No, it wasn't.
nothing to do with you. It had everything to do with the fact that my cousin was there. It had something to do with the fact that you put him there. Because if he wasn't there, it would have been the same thing. But because he was there, I knew my cousin wouldn't let me get jumped
Jump.
on, and I wasn't worried. And
Yeah,
that
folks.
changed everything.
When you got
So when I
a
knew I
good
was
for mama,
actually allowed to put my hands on people, that's different. So, but then I realized that I still don't have to fight people off their words. And that's when I just learned to roast people back. Like I realized that bus situation shouldn't even have happened like that. I should have just roasted them back, talked about them back. No, I was trying to be a nice kid. I was trying to be good because
he didn't have any
already was at
boundaries.
home dealing with cousins and uncle who was making me box, making me wrestle. Like I knew how to do this stuff. I had to box with one hand with my brothers and my cousins and stuff. Like I knew how to do this stuff. I just didn't do it because I knew I would get in trouble for it until I realized I wouldn't. So yeah, it was an eye opener. Like, wait a minute. So my mom's okay with this?
So when did you
She is
realize? If
sanctioning
you're
this?
saying then that you didn't have boundaries, when did you never had boundaries? When did you realize that you did have boundaries?
Ooh, wow, that was a good question. Um, I think I started setting boundaries for myself around let me think. Because a lot of times, man, I didn't care. I didn't care how people talk to me. I didn't care. I would ignore it. I would talk back. If people did me wrong, I would steal from them. Like, so it was, to me, it wasn't, to me, it wasn't any boundary. It was like, you crossed me. It was like, if I was like, if I felt a certain way, I guess if I felt bad, I stole from you. I would steal something from you. Like, if you did me any wrong, I would steal something from you. So it was like, for me, I was being a little thief. And it was like, I don't know, I
Okay,
guess,
so I mean, what age is that where you realize
man, I
I don't
guess when
like
I was
these
like,
boundaries
man,
being I don't like these boundaries. I don't like the way I'm feeling.
uh, I think it was about 13, 14. I think it was like when I went to 8th grade. I think it was about right before. Nah, I think no. I think it was when I was going to Mortondale. I think because I knew at that point, like, don't touch me. At that point, I knew exactly what would get me there. Like, I was a Pokemon card collector, crack jokes, all that, but don't touch me. Like, the moment you touch me, then we're fighting. And then I was always I'll be in trouble for fighting because somebody put their hands on me. But I was never the starter. So my thing was, don't touch
You
me.
never get in
And it
trouble for
became, I
fighting.
realized that, huh?
You got in trouble by who for fighting? I used to just ask you who
I
won.
got in trouble. I got in trouble with, well, I'm not gonna say I got in trouble with her because that was more so not me just fighting, but I threw a chair, you know what I'm saying? And I was being very defiant to the teacher. So it was not just the fighting. So Grandma Linda, she told me up in that bathroom. I will never
Oh,
forget that. I had to
okay.
say her name because that whooping was embarrassing. My mama would never do me like that, man. Have anybody out there, y'all? Have y'all ever had a classroom where your bathroom was in the classroom and you got a whooping in that bathroom around your classmates because the way you act in class and the whole time you getting a whooping, she's saying, if you can act like this in class and you can get your whooped in class, then
Wow.
you got to come
I
out the
never knew
bathroom and
about
act like you
that.
ain't just get whooped in front of everybody. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Boy, my story. She came up to the school, called your grandma. I remember. But I digest. But the thing is,
Yeah.
so by the time we moved to California, I had already put in my mind, all right, as long as nobody don't touch me, I'm cool. I ain't got as long as nobody don't touch me, I'm cool. And then by then, my confidence was way up. I was a whole different person. I'm rapping at this point. Like,
But
I'm turning my
something
poetry into
switched.
raps. Um, what do you mean?
So when did it switch? Because I know you used to get angry and would jump to fighting when people would say certain things to you, and it and if you would get so pissed off, and then you would jump up and be like, "Well, what you want to do? What you want to do?" And it wasn't even had nothing to do with them touching you. So when did it
So
switch?
at that point, so it switched when it switched when I no longer cared about um so this is the first time I ever admitted this out of my mouth, but with me being the goofy kid and me being the kid who was always cracking jokes and collecting Pokemon cards and all the stuff I did, all the weird stuff I did, the fun stuff I did, the funny guy, being a goofy, the guy always talking to the girl. One thing that was always never spoken on about me was how tough I was. Um, how the fact I don't back down from nothing. Like, it was never that talk. Like, no one ever spoke on that. Even, and this crazy part, the crazy part is after everything I've done in my life, I can probably say that still won't be things I've said. And I've done some things. Not that I'm proud of it, but I've done some things that where people be like, you have to put respect on my name. I don't care who's out there in this world. If you know me, if you know what I went through and know what I lived through and know what I was setting in motion and the fact that I'm still here and alive, like, you have to put respect on that. But the point was, that's what I wanted at that end. I was wrong. I was wrong to want that. When it got to a point where I wanted people to know that if you're
You
not
gonna?
cool with me, it's gonna go
Mm-hmm.
there. Because if you're not cool with me and you're doing this, you don't respect me. And the only way I'm gonna make you respect me is not with words, because these words ain't working. These words is not working at all. So now I'm gonna make you respect me physically. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't want to respect me with the words and stuff, now I'm gonna respect you with these hands. And then people will see, like, okay. But then when people be like, oh, he got an attitude problem. Now I got an attitude problem. Not first I was the cool, goofy kid, and you know what I'm saying, y'all can chill and we can crack jokes, but now I'm the guy with the attitude problem. But I'm the first one that's ready when something go down. I'm the first one locked in when something go down, but I'm the goofy kid. but I'm this guy. You know what I'm saying? So it was like it became something where it was like, you got words to say, I got words to say. My words don't stop your words, then it's time for my hands to. Cause it was like, I don't want to hear it no more. It got to the point to where it wasn't me saying, oh, now you gotta put your hands on me, you gotta put your hands on me. Because back where I grew up, it wasn't all that talking. Like, I grew up in Ben Harbor, people were ready to throw. It wasn't that much talking. As you got older, people put their hands on you. They ready to fight. We fighting. Like, people fought. People fought all the time. I've seen some family drama stuff. Like, I grew up in the era of fighting now. Like, as a kid, yeah, shoulder to shoulder. But as soon as people start getting to middle school, close to high school, no, you start fighting, throwing blows. So when I moved, that's the last thing that's on my mind. So I'm bringing that with me. So I'm trying to be cool with people. And then the first people that thinking they finna cross me and they don't even know me, I'm out here, y'all don't even know me. Let's get to it. Because that's how I was
Right.
approached. The first way I was approached, like, my first instance in high school was me rapping somebody, or I'm rapping battling somebody, and I, got the nickname MC for a little short moment. It was a very short moment. They called me MC for a very short moment. Next thing you know, I'm getting challenged and to fight these gang members because they don't like the way I'm dressing. And even though I wasn't dressing like a thug, it was the colors I was wearing. They thought representing something. So when that was brought to me, my response was, my thought was, this is what I'm going to be in high school. So what I'm going to say to this guy is going to make or break who I am going to be in this high school. If I say something to him and it sounds like I'm a coward, I'm scared, then everybody's going to know me as the punk, the scaredy guy, whatever. So I said the most toughest thing that I thought I could say. And honestly, when I said it, I was very confident in when I said it. And I knew that I was setting myself up for failure. But I was like, yeah, all right, I'll take him on each period in the bathroom, because it was a situation where these people wanted to jump me. And when I said it, the person who sent me the message was like, huh? I said, yeah, tell them I fight each one of them in each period. We got 6 periods. It's you say 30 of them. I'll fight 5 of them each period. I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't even going to tell y'all the numbers because I didn't want y'all to think that I was making this up, but that's what it was. He was like, man, it's like 30 people, man. They want to jump me. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, man. They don't like who you are. They don't like who you are. They don't like what you be doing.
Oh,
I don't be doing
that's
nothing.
crazy.
I'm like,
Well,
well, and in
that's
my
gonna be
head,
a
and
story for another
Mom,
day,
I'm
though.
very nervous. I was very, very nervous. I'm telling you, I was very, very nervous. And it's crazy because I wasn't even looking at the time. So we definitely had to stop right there.
That's gonna be a story for another day, guys. So y'all gotta listen in, because one Friday, don't know when,
Oh
we gonna get
yeah.
into.
Yeah, one
It's gonna be
day.
a story of our fights. That's what we gonna, and then y'all can tell us whether they were
Oh,
worth
yes.
it
That would be
or not.
nice. Not listen, and it's not to glorify fight. These are
Fighting,
moments
no,
where we're gonna
y'all
call
can
them moments of no, no,
none clarity. We'll figure it out.
no. We're gonna
But
call it moments of digression, because that's when moments of digression, because that's when you digress to a less primitive person when you're not using your thoughts and your words and you get to use your body actions. All barbaric moments.
okay, so here we go. Y'all know what time it is. Don't act shy. It's the
Yes,
word
we
of the
do.
day. And let's see. So
Yeah, what's that word? I am ready.
it is, hold on. Sorry, guys.
I'll be fact checking her, y'all.
Y'all
She might be
ready?
making these words up sometimes.
Hold on. That is not what I was looking for. Um,
See y'all.
y'all know how it happens. I'm and I do know I do test this
When you say you test this, what does that mean?
and make sure that it's
You
going.
use it in a sentence?
No, I made sure it's gonna play, that you can actually but when I
Oh,
go to do it
you talking about
yeah.
the program. I thought you talking about when you test the word. The last thing I was thinking about it was the fact that I said you make up the words, but you like, I do test this. I'm like, oh, you test the word? That's what's up. I don't know what this word is. I'm not gonna use it because I was gonna say for now on I'm gonna start using words that you say in a sentence, but that's only if I disagree with it.
Really?
Yes,
So
because
now,
you gotta
in
remember
what
it has to go in my box, and if it goes in
oh,
my
yeah.
box, that means I've used it in a sentence, and the sentence didn't make sense.
Here we go. There we go.
Okay, here we go, y'all. Here we go.
Y'all hear
Word
it?
of the day.
Here we go.
Drum roll.
You keep did you
What?
hear it? 'Cause if you be quiet, then you will hear it.
Inveterate. I didn't say nothing,
Yep.
but I didn't say anything. I was quiet when I talked.
Inveterate.
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 And the definition is where's the definition?
Inveterate.
Having a particular habit, activity, or interest that is long established and unlikely to change.
Hmm.
Context. Some family members are inveterate boundary crossers.
Mm. We can keep that word. I like it. I might even use it in a rap. I like it.
Y'all heard him. He gonna keep it. Y'all heard him. He gonna keep it. All right, people.
I
This was
like
pretty
that word.
interesting. You don't? He don't like it,
I said
y'all.
I
He
do.
want to
I do.
keep.
I do.
Oh, I thought you said I don't like
No, no,
that
no, no. I
word.
do. I do. I do.
Okay. All right, folks. Y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Have a good night. Be kind to
Yes, yes,
someone on
yes.
purpose.
And be kind of someone new.
Be blessed because this is our truth. Because I am his mom.
And I am her son.
Peace.
Peace.